Hello there, welcome to CoreTV News at 4. I'm Geft or Gete. News reaching us from the House of Representatives confirmed that the lawmakers have passed the Petroleum Industry Bill into law. Our CoreTV News correspondent, Pius Samuel, joins us now from Abuja. Hello, Pius. Hello, Pius. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Good evening. Hello, Pius. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
The Petroleum Industry Bill has been passed into law. Can you give us an account of how that went?
I can barely hear you, please. Can you speak up a little bit?
Yes, the Petroleum Industry Bill has been passed into law. Can you hear that now?
Yes.
Yes, can you give us how that went?
Yep, today happens to be the last day for the 7th Assembly. And the members, that were present today took it upon themselves to, wrap up some of the activities that they started, for the past 4 years. So the PIB bill, Petroleum Industry Bill, was one of the bills that they actually took time to go through and finally pass it into law. Today, they went through the PIB bill
Okay.
for the second time. They went through it for the third time before it was passed into law. So that's the process. And some of the hitches that we normally experience when it comes to some clauses were actually, suspended by the members. As the speaker was calling on the clauses, the response he got from members of the floor was very, very encouraging, as they answered positively, to almost all of the clauses on the PIB bill. So for now, the House of Rep has actually broken the jinx, of passing this into law. So it's now it will now lie on the shoulders of the 8th Assembly, talking about the Senate,
Yeah.
to also concur, with what the House of Reps, the 7th Assembly, has done.
Okay, so generally, what was the atmosphere like in the House?
The atmosphere was like a mixed feeling, because after plenary, the speaker, did a kind of valedictory statement, calling on those that will be returning to uphold the principles that kept the 7th Assembly together, and the new members that will be coming, he encouraged them to do the same. Not a lot of members were actually in the chamber today. The House of Representatives comprises of 360 members.
Yeah.
What we have today was not too sure they're up to 100.
You know,
A lot of things, were probably responsible for the low turnout, especially for those that will not be coming back. They have to pack their things and all that, and so it was a mixed feeling.
Were you able to speak with some of the?
And now you won't be there again and all of that. So the atmosphere wasn't as charged as it used to be.
As usual, yeah. Were you able to speak with some of them?
Yes, I was. I spoke with a few number of them, actually, talking about their experiences and the areas that they felt they've not actually done well, and the areas they felt the 7th Assembly has done well. And they shared their experience with us. Some of them were not too happy that some of the major bills, like a woman, one of the representatives I spoke to, she wasn't happy because of the women affairs and justice bill or so. I can't really quote her now. Was not passed into law.
Okay.
She wasn't happy, talking about gender and all of that. And a few of them also hailed the 7th Assembly, saying that they have done really, really, really well, considering the number of bills and motions and reports they've actually went through.
All right. Thank you so much, Pius.
They really, really did well.
All right. Thank you so much, Pius. Please do keep us updated, all right?
All right.
Yeah, bye. All right, still on the PIB bill, we'll join Ronke Onadeko, an oil and gas expert and indeed a PIB enthusiast. Let's join Ronke. Won't care immediately, but would try to get her on the phone, and immediately we do, would bring her up on the news at 4. We continue with the rest of our bulletin. The 7th Senate came to a close with a revelation from the leadership that the 123 bills were passed in 4 years. This includes the 46 passed in record time on Wednesday. Senate leader Victor Nduma, who disclosed this in a speech at the final session, ordered that a total of 591 bills were considered between June 2011 and June 2015. He also noted that 115 motions were treated and resolutions made, but the executive failed to comply with most of them. No fewer than 50 senators also spoke at the valedictory session, attended by at least 3 former Senate presidents. We'll bring you more details in subsequent bulletins. President Muhammadu Buhari has written to the House of Representatives requesting the approval for the appointment of 15 special advisors to assist him carry out his constitutional duties. The letter was read at Thursday plenary by the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Emeka Ihedioha. It comes one day after the Senate approves a similar request from the President. The Senate has passed a record 46 bills one day before the end of the 7th National Assembly. The bills were earlier passed by the House of Representatives and had been awaiting concurrence from the Senate. Senators adopted a special procedure on the basis of a motion raised by Chairman of the Senate Committee on Rules and Business, Itainang, and 8 others to push through the bills.
69. Office of the Nigeria Financial Ombudsman Bill 2015, House Bill number 14. Institute of Chartered Trustees of Nigeria Bill 2015, HB 19. National Convict and Criminal Records Registry Bill 2015, House Bill 57. The same text of the motion that was adopted in the that was filed on the floor of the House of Representatives by me was the text of the same motion that was filed on the floor of the Senate by me. By the Chairman of Rules and Business Committee of the Senate at that time. And that Senate, presided over by the single Senator David Mark, also approved. It was in the same manner. I therefore appeal to our colleagues to please accept and accede to this, because if we don't, all the effort that we have made here in passing all the bills we have passed, if we don't agree to this, the House of Representatives will not also agree, because we agreed on this on the basis of legislative reciprocity. That is, pass our own, agree to our own rules, procedure and bills. We will agree to yours.
I think it is not fair that this committee, I looked at the membership of the committee for so many days. You've not been able to meet. I don't think that that's very fair. Please, let's not create a wrong impression, please. Okay. So please make sure that you meet and produce a result tomorrow.
Meanwhile, the Senate has unanimously approved President Muhammadu Buhari's request for the appointment of 15 special advisors. This was on the basis of a motion raised by Senate leader Victor Nduma. Senators approved the President's request through a voice vote when Senate President David Mark posed the question to them.
By tradition, we usually give approval. The letter came in yesterday and I read it on the floor here yesterday. So I think I can put the question. Those in favor of the motion that the Senate do consider and approve the request of Mr. President, Commander-in-Chief, for the appointment of 15 special advisors in accordance with Section 151, subsection 2 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended. Say aye. Aye. Against, say nay. The ayes have it.
The National Working Committee of the All Progressives Congress has listed some criteria for the Senate presidential candidate. The NWC of the party rose after a meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari and agreed, among others, that the Senate president must come from the geopolitical zone with the second highest number of votes after the Northwest at the presidential election held on March 28. The meeting, Edo's fatherland, agreed that the next Senate president must not have any corruption charges hanging on his or her neck. and should be one of the most ranking senators in the current Fourth Republic. A senator who attended the meeting told our correspondent that the meeting also mandated executive members of the party to, within 3 days, present a consensus candidate for the post of Senate President based on the listed criteria. During the inauguration of the 8th Senate, the two gladiators currently contesting the office of the Senate President are Senators Bukola Saraki, Kwara Central, and Hamid Lawan, Yobe North. Osun State House of Assembly has inaugurated the 6th Assembly with the return of Najem Salam as the Speaker of the Assembly. Majority of the principal officers during the 5th Assembly have also been returned. Rashid has more in this report from Osogbo.
The 6th Osun State House of Assembly is made up of 24 APC members and 2 PDP. The emergence of the principal officers therefore became a matter of formality, as most of the immediate past officers were returned. Speaker Najem Salam and his deputy Akintunde Adegboye were the first to be sworn in, followed by other members of the House of Assembly. Salam gave the 5th Assembly, which he presided over, a thumbs up, adding that it did better than other assemblies before it.
We passed 32 laws and 48 resolutions against the 26 laws passed in the 2nd Assembly between 1989 and 2003, 29 laws passed between 2003 and 2007 in the 3rd Assembly, and 21 laws passed between 2007 and 2011 in the 4th Assembly.
For the state governor, Rauf Aregbesola, it was not only a time to commend the lawmakers, but also to appeal for understanding from the state's striking workers.
We must overcome this challenge. We will fulfill our mandate. We will serve our people. God, who was with us in our first term, will not desert us now. We will emerge from this triumphant and stronger.
A former speaker and PDP deputy governorship candidate Adejare Bello was also in attendance as Osun State inaugurates the 6th Assembly. But while the merrymaking continues, questions remain on how the state government owes 7-month salaries of civil servants. Rashid, CoreTV News, Osogbo.
Hello there, it is still CoreTV News. At 4, we go back to the petroleum industry bill that has been passed by the House of Representatives. And we're now being joined by Dauda Garuba. He's a country officer, Natural Resource Governance Institute. Hello, Garuba.
Hello.
Yes, the petroleum industry bill has been passed into law. How does that make you feel?
Yes, I also just heard that, and those of us who have been on this issue at least since 1998, when that bill first went to the National Assembly, it is a welcome development, and we have always said that you're never going to get a perfect bill. Let's have something passed, and from there on, we can begin to engage and also possibly think of an amendment if there are issues in the course of implementation. For those of us who have been on this issue for a very long time, it is a victory for democracy. It is something that is long overdue.
Okay, how does this translate to the common man on the streets, for instance?
Pardon?
How does this bill translate into the common man on the street, the passing of this bill into law?
Yes, I think there are key issues. And the key issues are that, first, it's so unfortunate that for a very fast developing industry as the oil industry has been, we've over the years been running it with very outdated laws. How does it sound that we are running this industry with 1969 Petroleum Act? And even some of the laws that are even the most recent of all the laws are those around 1993, which are the offshore contracts that were signed. And we are quite aware of the fact that those laws were actually signed at a time when Nigeria was a pariah nation during the time of military dictatorship, and that we signed them almost at a giveaway price. That's giving our oil out at a very giveaway price.
Okay.
And now that the oil industry, at least over the years when we had this boom, we should have made some good amount of money out of this process, but we didn't do that. But now, to deal that is being signed at a time when oil prices are low there. But that's notwithstanding, there's always the up and down price side of the oil prices. But the fact remains that having a petroleum industry bill is going to open up, for instance, break down the monopoly of the NNPC that everybody has yearned for over the years. We're going to have a petroleum industry bill that is going to open up the whole process of contracting in terms of transparency and accountability. We're looking at a petroleum industry that is going to create more opportunities for us to have a national oil company and a petroleum industry where the government where government will be a bit removed from business and face the aspect of regulation. So for me, it is a win-win for Nigeria, whichever way you look at it. Okay.
Thank you so much, Mr. Dauda Garuba. You're the Natural Resource Governance Institute Country Officer. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. The Inspector General of Police, Solomon Arase, has promised to flush out bad elements from the police force. He made this pledge shortly after decorating 14 newly promoted senior police officers in Abuja. Correspondent Pius Samo reports.
A day after meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari alongside other security chiefs, the Inspector General has again warned senior officers against indulging in acts of corruption. Arase maintained that the only way to ensure adequate policing across the country is to be clear of acts capable of bringing disrepute to the force. He reaffirmed his readiness to flush out bad elements in the police and charged the promoted officers to take the welfare of officers and men under their command seriously.
There is a new paradigm shift in policing in this country, and I'm sure you'll be following the policy thrust of this administration: zero tolerance for corruption, intelligence-led policing, and restorative justice. So we expect that wherever you are posted to eventually, you will be able to help us operationalize this policy thrust of this administration.
Responding on behalf of the decorated officers, Helsinda Musa thanked the IG for counting them worthy of honor. They also promised to work in line with the objectives of the police management team.
On behalf of the promotees, I want to sincerely say thank you and for finding us worthy to be promoted. Yeah. This munificent gesture that has fulfilled this delegation is heartwarming, it's motivational, it's inspiring, it's encouraging, and of course, spurring.
The Inspector General of Police also commissioned a new press center at the force headquarters. Pius Samuel, CoreTV News, Abuja.
It's CoreTV News at 4. We'll take this break. Please stay with us.
As news breaks, people don't let events pass without giving their comment or reactions.
When the problem arises in society, these are the people that should be consulted.
To cleanse the corruption in society, we are not to provide information for good life and also security of life and property in this country.
The academic society have the loudest voice on this platform.
Whether you call it a sovereign national conference or a national conference, it is about the people of Nigeria.
There should be a change in power.
In any way they can do it.
I think there's a script already.
Every Tuesday at 8:45 p.m. on this station. From the Ivory Tower, a must-watch for the learning minds.
Lagos State's Governor Kinwumi Ambode has appealed to the state security operatives.
This meeting with Kai, LASMA and men of the vehicle inspection officers is coming on the heels of the inauguration speech of Governor Kinwumi Ambode, where he promised to run a government that will not harass any residents of Lagos State, while assuring the law enforcement officers that the government will continue to reward excellence. Ambode enjoins them to desist from harassing residents of the state. He says adopting technological approach to law enforcement is a long-term aim of his government.
I don't want people
to torture my citizens. Don't make life miserable for them. Don't make life uncomfortable for them. Yes, you can be an offender, but there are more civil ways to control offenders. With you cooperating with me and the use of technology, we will solve that problem.
The Secretary to the State Government, Suji Bello, had earlier charged the officers to shun corruption.
And that is to tell everybody that the work must start immediately. And the way the work is going to start is that there will be no room for dereliction of duty anymore.
One after the other, representatives of the state security outfits assured the government of their continued loyalty and support. Adherence to law and order have been the bedrock of successive governments in Lagos, but anticipated introduction of technology into the maintenance of existing law by the present administration will curb intimidation of residents by overzealous law enforcement officers.
The annually held event in remembrance of the legend Professor Celestine Oyemobi Elie Onwunliwi, who died in June 3, 2012, Dana air crash at Iju near Lagos, was revisited for the third time. The memorial lecture as a yearly duty for Professor Mrs. Viola Onwunliwi, the wife of the late professor, to bring to the public educative lectures in memories of her beloved husband. Correspondent Ajibade Awofeso has the details in this report.
In her opening remark, Professor Viola Onwunliwi, who is the brain behind the annual event, thanked the people who had come from far and near for the event.
And that foundation has undertaken to continue to organize these annual lectures. The first lecture in 2013 was given by the former Minister of Power, Professor Nebo. The second lecture last year was given by former Minister of State Defense, former Minister of State Defense, Senator Lucilio Obaniko, gave that last year. And this year, we have Professor Essien here representing the NEC. And we thank you for honoring us with your presence, each and every one of you.
The guest speaker, Professor Julius Okoji, ably represented by Professor Israel Essien, spoke on the challenges of the Nigerian university system in the 21st century.
We want to commend the Onwunliwi family for sustaining this legacy of remembering our dear one, and specifically for Professor Viola Onwunliwi. We shall remain responsive and committed to activities that will immortalize late Professor Onwunliwi and the other 4 members of the agency family that lost their lives in that ill-fated trip.
Some of the dignitaries at the lecture also have some thoughts to share.
Who gave his best for his country. He was a distinguished academic and distinguished administrator who died in national service. So when we celebrate, we are telling other people who died in national service that when they die, they are not dying in vain. Employ up to 20 people or 30 people. Government should be able to establish on the world. We must find a means of stopping this drift.
Indeed, the event is a noble development, and if the ideas brought to the fore here are applied, the education sector will be the better for it. Ajibade Awofeso, CoreTV News, Owerri.
The strike embarked upon by workers at the Federal Neuropsychiatric Hospital FNPN Yaba has continued with patients bearing the brunt. Bulomo Adekunle visited the hospital and she filed in this report.
A shadow of itself is the expression that best describes the situation of things at the Federal Neuropsychiatric Hospital, Yaba, as the usual hustle and bustle that characterize day-to-day activities at the hospital were absent. While the unions, National Association of Nurses and Midwives of Nigeria and Nigeria Union of Allied Health Professionals have embarked on a nationwide strike, the Yaba chapter seemed to have more grievances with the hospital's management aside that listed by the national body.
What led to this indefinite strike can be dated back to 2011, 2011, people were promoted. Their promotion areas were paid. But those that were skipped from 9 to 11, their areas were not paid. There were a series of letters, but the management said, the ministers had said, the civil service rule said they should not skip. And there was no documentation to that effect. There were a series of meetings here and there until Joesu National went to the court and won the case, that the court ruled that they should skip, that is on the civil service rule for civil servant to skip from 9 to 11. Then after that, our salary payments, that's the payment of our salary, became epileptic. Before now, we used to collect our salary between 22nd of every month and 26th of every month. But now, we don't receive our salary until maybe middle of the next month.
Now, let me give you a picture of what it is like. Light in the hospital is rationed. You know, I don't know what has been happening, but at night, there is no light to care for psychiatric patients in a psychiatric hospital. Do you understand me? And then the worst they can tell is, can you get a torchlight? So I ask you, when a psychiatric patient is in emergency state, how do you attend to that person with a torchlight? That's the scenario, really. You know, patients are now paying more to get drugs, where you expect that these things should be subsidized.
Dr. Ari Lawal, which is our medical director, is supposed to leave. His tenure is supposed to lapse this year, and the whole staff does not want his tenure to be elongated beyond this year. So it's against the Constitution. The Constitution has stipulated that if you're 60, you cannot, that is, you retire from service. You understand? Which even down the ladder, everybody at the end of affair, the head of service, when you are 60, you have to go. You understand?
And just like the African adage that says, given a hoe, a person would harvest to his side, the medical director, Abolore Lawal, exonerated himself of all the allegations leveled against him.
When I explained to them, they said, I claim that I'm not owing them money, that I say it's Abuja that is owing them. That's one of my offenses. But I really don't see the difference between me telling them that, well, this money is not in the hospital. The money is in Abuja. It's Abuja that will pay you. But they claim that I was kind of denying that we are not owing them, which is not true. The other part of it is that government started putting the hospitals on IPs. You know IPs? IPs is this integrated payment system that, first of all, they come to do biometrics of all the staff in the hospital, and they computerize all of us, and then our salaries start coming from Abuja. The same number of hours that we have electricity since the 1980s is the same number of hours we have electricity. Okay? What happens is that we need to improve, okay? And we have made efforts to improve on what we are doing by trying to get inverters into the wards. We tried, we put inverters in wards, in some of our wards. No sooner you put inverters, in a couple of months, it's gone bad. If you know that you are going to be 60 years before the end of your appointment, and you want to remain as medical director of that hospital after the age of 60, the circular says that you should resign your appointment as a consultant in that hospital, which is actually what is happening now. I resigned my position as a consultant psychiatrist in this hospital when I was appointed. Submitted it and did the right thing to do. So when I was 60 in January, I'm free to continue until I end my tenure. It's a tenure appointment, which ends in August.
But the question is, when will the strike end?
As I'm talking with you, it's not in view, because it's an indefinite strike, and we don't know what until our demand.
Ebuloma Adekule, CoreTV News, Lagos.
Nigeria's Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, yesterday visited the victims of the fuel tanker accident and sympathized with the government and people of Anambra State over the tragic incident. The Vice President made the visit on behalf of President Buhari to Toronto Hospital in Onitsha, where he was received alongside Governor Obiano by the Chief Medical Director, Emeka Eze, who took time to explain how the emergency situation was handled. Oshibanjo commended the timely intervention of the state government and various hospitals, especially Toronto Hospital.
It's very, very concerned. We felt that it was not sufficient to issue a statement of condolence, and we felt that I should come. I've been taken around. I have seen the very heroic efforts, especially of the hospital and the doctors who took this upon themselves very quickly and very ably, and of course the state's emergency operations. Were also very quick to respond.
We have banned trailers and fuel-carrying vehicles to ply only at night. That we believe will minimize any challenges we are going to have.
It's CoreTV News at 4. We'll take another break. Stay with us.
Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on Digi360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.
And now sports. The Flying Eagles of Nigeria won their second match in Group E of the Under-20 World Cup against Korea DPR in a grand style. Xavier Godswin Brace fired Nigeria to the brink of qualification for the last 16 as they beat Korea DPR 4-0 at the Stadium Taranaki on Monday. Enyimba midfielder Kingsley Shokari and substitute Granada striker Success Isaac also scored one piece. The comfortable win brightened Nigeria's hopes of reaching the last 16 ahead of their final Group E game against Hungary on Sunday. The former FIFA official has threatened to go public with the information that could land the football governing body and its president in hot water once more. The former FIFA vice president was one of 14 people indicted by the United States Department of Justice last week in a move that preceded Friday's FIFA elections in Zurich, which later proved futile when re-elected. Blatter revealed his decision to quit 4 days later. Warner has said he has evidence of a link between FIFA, its funding, and me. The link between FIFA, its funding, and the United National Congress People's Partnership Government in general elections 2010, while the 72-year-old also indicated his documents directly implicated Blatter. Meanwhile, a former executive committee member of football's global governing body FIFA told a U.S. judge in 2013 that he took bribes in connection with 1998 and 2010 World Cups, according to a partial release of his testimony. U.S. prosecutors on Wednesday unsealed the transcript of the 2013 hearing in U.S. District Court in New York, during which Chunk Blazer agreed to plead guilty of racketeering and other charges. Blazer said he and others on the FIFA Executive Committee agreed to accept bribes in conjunction with the selection of South Africa as the host nation for the 2010 World Cup. The former number 2 official of the football in North and Central America and the Caribbean also said he arranged bribes around 1992 in the vote for which country would host the 1998 World Cup. Blazer, a U.S. citizen, secretly pleaded guilty to 10 criminal counts in federal court in New York as part of an agreement with U.S. prosecutors, according to the transcript of the hearing. Nigerian musicians Yemi Alade Davido and Orisha Femi have been nominated for the 2015 Black Canadian Awards. The three Nigerian stars were nominated in the Best International Act category, alongside others like Edem from Ghana, Eddie Kenzo from Uganda, Tiye from Ivory Coast, and South Africa's Mafizik Zolo. The award ceremony will hold on Saturday, June 6, 2015 at the prestigious Queen Elizabeth Theatre in Toronto, and NET cannot independently confirm if any of the Nigerian music stars will be present at the event. And now outside Nigeria, Egypt's Court of Cassation has ordered that former President Hosni Mubarak be retired over the killing of protesters in 2011. The judge accepted the public prosecution's appeal against an earlier court ruling that dropped the case against Mubarak last year. It said the retrial will begin on November 5. Nearly 900 protesters were killed in the 18-day uprising against the former president's rule that ended when Mubarak stepped down in 2011, handing over power to the military. The case against Mubarak, however, was concerned only with the killing of 239 protesters whose names were cited in the charge sheet. And that's our news for this hour. Thank you so much for staying on with us. Please join us again. I am Gift or Gete. Good evening.